Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Hoop Talk Nas, and I'm joined by the same gang as usual. We had decided a long time ago we're not going to do intros, so I'm not going to introduce them. It's Hoop Talk, the podcast, episode 15.
When did we do that?
A
When
long
And
did
time
we
ago.
Atlanta
do
Y'all
that?
Sports
forced,
Production.
y'all forced me into that a long time ago, so I don't do intros anymore. But this is Hoop Talk, the podcast, episode 15. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you are not, hit us up in the comment section. Let us know that you're back supporting and showing love. We appreciate you for it, man. Let's get right into the entire show. Let's talk about greatness to start off today. Let's talk about greatness. Nikola
While we
Jokic.
talk about greatness,
Okay.
let's start off really quick and talk about something better. The number 4 point guard in the NBA, 80% chance at winning MVP. That's crazy for the fourth best point guard in the NBA. What do we think?
Oh my gosh, Nas.
Because we're going
Make
to talk
sure we
about
think of what
Jokic,
next
we
year.
got to talk about someone better.
Well, the obvious MVP of the season, Nikola Jokic, just had a 30 and 20 and 20 game. I believe the first ever in NBA history. Just continues to rack up the numbers, continues to rack up the historical landmarks. What do you guys think about that performance? Or what do you guys just think about Jokic overall? I know we talked about him multiple times, but he keeps amazing us over and over again with more stuff. It's reminding me of that Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook season.
I think this season we're seeing it even more than we saw previously because he actually cares about winning the MVP. I think somebody made a
Yeah.
comment about him having a horse in the race, and he realized like horses have something to do with basketball, and he's really trying.
That was good.
But
That was good, Tyler.
bro, you remember his shooting the first couple months of the season? He was shooting 51% from three up until like the end of December, and then now I think he's still averaging like around 47%. Like, what do you do against Jokic right now? Like, if you guard him up close, he's gonna hit some stupid shot over you. He's gonna foul bait you. If you give him enough space, he's a great shooter on the perimeter. He's gonna create for somebody else. Like, I don't know, 29, 13, and 10 on the third best team in the West is really good. To say it
I agree
the
with you.
easiest way possible, it's really good, really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he's becoming one of those players, and I hate to say it. It's like the James Harden, when James Harden kept repeating his greatness of being like one of those people who gets pretty much unstoppable on offense. LeBron's MVP or earlier days when it just got normal. It's just crazy how normal it is to me, and we're not giving him more flowers for what he's doing because there's not a lot of big men. There's not ever been a big man to average the assists he's averaging, and also do it from the
Besides
actual
Will.
post. Wilt wasn't doing it like how like he was. I don't think so. I think the stats are there, but I don't think the ease and the fluidity of how he was doing it was the same as his. I could agree with that. I can go on
I
that.
agree with
And on
you.
top of it, he's
I was just saying stat wise.
Yeah.
That's all.
Gotcha. I got you. LeBron as well. Just one of those players that's like kind of like he's so good. Is there a scale anymore? Is there a scale for him? Can we scale him? And sometimes when you become that good, you kind of just become infamous. So it sucks that it wasn't highlighted as much as I thought it should be. It's an amazing feat. It's 2K shit for real. That's the only thing that came to my head. I just thought about 2K and how my player will never do that because he has no defense and can't rebound. So yeah, for sure. I love it.
Nikola
I love
Jokic
to
is
see
the
it.
greatest basketball player on the planet. He is incredible. It's just I don't even know what words to
Yeah.
use, to be honest. He is unstoppable, to be honest. He can do everything. He can post you up. He can shoot the mid range. He can shoot the 3-pointer. He can, for as slow as he is, he can take you off the dribble. You know, most centers aren't
Yep.
really that fast either, so that's an advantage. Faster than him by comparison, but you know he uses his footwork.
Yeah.
He uses his basketball IQ to get you in a position where he can get by you. That's not his, his main source of offense, but he can do that. His ability to make his teammates better is just phenomenal. I genuinely, and I don't know how much of a stretch this might be, but I genuinely do believe that Jamal Murray has a name in this league because of the fact that he got lucky enough to play with Jokic. I don't know how great
I can
Jamal
agree with you
Murray
on that.
might have been without Jokic. I don't know how much he would have had an opportunity to
Is
shine.
he able to create as well as he is without having Jokic to have that sort of gravity?
Yeah,
Probably
I
not.
don't know how well he would have been able to play without Jokic's impact. I really don't know. Not to say he's not a great player. That's not the point I'm trying to make. But Um, guys like Aaron Gordon was already pretty good in Orlando, but the player that he became in Denver is, owed to Jokic's impact.
Extraordinary.
Um, the freedom that
Extraordinary.
Michael Porter Jr. gets is because of the ability of Jokic to create this freedom for him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's it's miraculous. It is really, LeBron James like. It is really Magic Johnson like, where it's like I turn the tide of the game. I decide how the game goes. It's my game to lose every game. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't know if Jokic will ever have the luxury of an upgraded roster. I don't know if the Denver Nuggets are that type of organization to ever try to pair him up with another stud. No offense to the guys he has, but I don't think he doesn't have an All Star teammate. He hasn't had an All Star teammate his entire career. Not a current All Star, at least, like a player who was an All Star that year with Jokic is what I mean. He's played with former All Stars, sure, but it's not the same. It's not the same at
Yeah.
all. Um,
Yeah. I agree with you, Nas. I think that's the part that makes it awesome too. Like he's not doing this with like a valid like first team NBA like him. You know what I'm saying? He's doing this with like second team NBA players, second tier players. I don't think Jamal Murray is a tier one point guard in my eyes. So it's awesome, man.
He's a
He's
tier 3.
giving people jobs. That I think he's a tier two, but I mean, him, we'll discuss that later. But regardless of the fact, it's just awesome to me. And also, like I think the biggest thing about all this and what I'm seeing and I'm getting this, those were what those players, other than Magic Johnson, but James Harden, LeBron James, Russell, leading teams into the playoffs literally by themselves. Like, and I'm not saying he's by himself, obviously, but it's a gap between who the best next player on that team is, by far, and that's awesome, man. I'm here for it. I don't know if he's MVP again. Sometimes people get MVP. Um, what's the word I want to just get tired of voting for the same person all the time. They want to see a new
Fatigue.
face there. Uh, yeah, voter fatigue, right? It's called voter fatigue. So yeah,
I have a question actually with Jokic. Let's say he's on trajectory to win an MVP this season, next season, whenever. At some point, he's going to win another MVP. I think it looks like that at least. So let's assume he wins one more MVP, and let's assume he wins one more championship. Is he a top 10, top 15 player of all time?
yes.
yeah, I think he's on trajectory to be a top 10 player already,
I
Is he
stat
believe.
wise.
the opposite Hakeem?
What do you mean
He's
by
the
that?
opposite Shaq to me.
Like the offensive version of Hakeem, someone who's so defensively like gifted that they just completely change how you have to play. Offensively for Jokic, of course.
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see that comparison too much off the top of my head, but I do kind of like the idea of he's the opposite of Shaq. I believe I like that idea because he just plays a completely different game than Shaq, but he dominates at the same caliber as Shaq in a way. You know what I mean? Where
Has
Yep.
a
it's
lot of
like
finesse too.
he's completely imposing his will. I do have a question though, because I'm curious. Have we ever seen, or could you name a superstar of his caliber? Right, so like the best players in the league, top three, top five players in the league that has won a championship without a Hall of Fame caliber teammate.
Um,
Shoot. Dirk
I
would be
mean,
the
he
only
does
one, but is
technically
Jason
have
Kidd a
one.
Hall of Famer?
You think so?
Yeah, Jamal Murray's a Hall of Famer.
Mm,
No, Jamal Murray could make it because of his international play, because of FIBA, because of the World
He
Cup.
definitely is a
Like
Hall of
if
Famer.
Canada continues to do well, also he has the Kentucky. I think they went pretty far, so there's a chance he makes it. But
there's a chance,
like if
so
they
it's
win
it's
again,
debatable.
Westbrook, he has Westbrook. He has
Ah.
DeAndre Jordan, who
But
will
he's,
most
If
likely
they win,
make
yeah,
I
the
think
Hall
if
of
they
Fame
win again,
too.
but that's predicting the future. I'm talking about, and when I say a Hall of Fame caliber teammate, I mean a teammate who
somebody
was
in your
still
prime.
a great player at that point of winning the championship. He got a DeAndre Jordan that was at the end of his career. You know what I mean?
He's very much like Nowitzki in that sense.
I think
Yeah, but
Nowitzki
Nowitzki
is
did
the
have
only
Hall of
example that really
Famers.
comes to mind, honestly.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Nah. Jason Terry. J Kidd.
None of those guys were at the peak of their
Tyson.
careers. None of those guys were.
We're saying
Nobody
more at
played
the
better
peak. At the
after
peak,
leaving
my
that
bad.
Mavericks team.
Exactly. Nobody was still that
The only-
level of a player when they were with Nowitzki or with Jokic. Nowitzki is the only one I can think of. I mean, you could debate. You could possibly debate.
Tyson Chandler's the only one.
I don't think so. No, Tyson Chandler.
I don't
is
think
not
he.
that caliber of a player.
Yeah,
But,
I really don't think that
Tyson
he was that
Chandler
great
was
on the
still
Knicks.
good NC.
No, Tyson Chandler's not that level of a player at all.
He was still. He was still in his prime when they won. Tyson Chandler was. I mean, I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but
that was
it's
the beginning. That was the beginning of his prime. That's where the world started recognizing Tyson Chandler as a impact player and started paying him. So that wouldn't.
I think that was towards the end of his prime. I think he has one good season with the Knicks, and then that he kind of fades away.
Like when you look at all these champions, they always have the luxury of having a teammate who is a high caliber player at that point in their careers, not beginning their,
I'll give you
their
that,
prime,
yeah.
not ending their prime. I'm talking about they're in dead smack in the middle of their prime. You know what I mean? You talk about Stephen Curry. We don't got to name them. We know exactly who they are. He had a bunch of those. You talk about LeBron. He had a bunch of those. We talk about even Jason Tatum. You know what I mean? Jason Tatum had Jaylen Brown, who is at the point, arguably his peak. I don't know if you guys think he can get better than this, but I don't know. We don't have to debate it today. But every champion you can think of, aside from Dirk, really, he's had that teammate that is really at the peak of their career. They're bona fide Hall of Famers when it's going to be all said and done. And it's a miraculous that
I have
Jokic
someone
can accomplish this. Who?
I have one other person, but is Robert Horry in the Hall of Fame? Is he in there
No,
yet?
I don't think so.
I don't know. He should be with so many championships. I feel like he just should be, but no, he is not.
All right, then Hakeem. Hakeem is another one.
Hakeem Olajuwon. What was the first?
He won in
year he won a
'94 without
championship?
any Hall of Fame teammates.
I have to fact check
94,
myself because I'm not
95.
familiar. 94, 95.
I think '95 he had one though.
93, 94 should have been it,
Yeah.
not 94, 95. Because he had Clyde Drexler.
93, 94 is he did not have any Hall of Fame teammates.
Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. I'm going to fact check myself before I try to contradict you because I remember one player who I felt like was really good, but maybe I'm wrong.
Are you thinking of Kenny Smith? Because I thought he was Hall of Fame.
No.
Nah, I thought it was what's
must
his
have been-
name?
must have been
He's been
early
on a
in
lot
his
of
career
interviews. No, he's been on. No, it was a guy. He played for Florida. He played on their team. He was like a kind of a crazy dude. He played on UF. I can't think of his name. He's been doing a lot of
Are you
interviews
talking about
lately.
Vernon Maxwell?
Vernon Maxwell?
Yeah,
You're talking
Vernon
about Mad
Maxwell
Max.
was
Vernon
actually
Maxwell. He
pretty
always
nice.
makes fun of Utah. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but Vernon Maxwell's not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he's not. He should be.
No.
That's crazy.
I mean,
I don't think that he should be. He is very good, not Hall of Fame.
He was a pretty bona fide role player, in my opinion. But
He averaged 18
Averaged 12 points a game.
at one point.
He averaged 12. Oh.
What's his highest season?
yeah, 17 is the highest he's ever had.
17.
He said 18 in an interview. What a liar.
That's not Hall of Fame worthy. Because he has Kenny the Jet Smith on his team, and he also averaged 17, but he had 7 assists with it. He's not even in the Hall of Fame. Which he
I'm
probably
surprised
will
Kenny's
be.
not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's not a bad one.
As an
He will
analyst,
But the point is,
It also fits
as
what
an
I was talking about
analyst.
before.
my point I'm making is, it's not a common thing, and we're talking about Hakeem Olajuwon, we're talking about Dirk Nowitzki, legends of the game, two players, one who is almost guaranteed a top 10 player of all time. Nowitzki can easily be argued as a top 10 player of all time. Probably wouldn't make a lot of people's list, but could, and it's a
Top
good
3
debate
power
to
forward,
have.
for
You know what I
sure.
mean? It's a conversation worth having. So we're looking at Jokic and comparing him to some of these legends of the game, and he's so early into his career, only has the one championship, but 3 MVPs, competing for a fourth one. In my opinion, he's my vote for MVP. I think Shea will get it, but he's my vote for MVP.
I think Shea's more record based.
It's remarkable what he's doing.
Yeah.
I think because of the fact that Shea's team is doing so phenomenally, and he is so doing just as, if not more,
and the
phenomenal.
adversity.
It's it's in favor of him. But I do believe Jokic is the MVP. I really do. What he's doing is out of this world. And it's the Nuggets are not a bad team. You know what I mean? Like they're not on paper. We all know we've discussed it before that we don't believe the Nuggets supporting cast is all that without Jokic, but it's all what it looks like on paper. And on paper, I think right now they're the second seed. So
I have another question.
Yeah.
Right now, is Jokic a top 5 center of all time?
top 5 center of all time.
Yeah. Can you name 5 centers that you think are better than him?
Shaq.
I can only name 3. I think he's better than David Robinson. I think I do have Wilt on there. I'm not gonna lie, because Wilt is kind of fake to me. I don't believe Wilt as a person. He's more of an experience in the NBA.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Jokic is a top 5 center of all time. Yeah.
I think we should have a deeper thought about this because I don't think he's top 5 yet.
I don't think you can name 5 centers that are guaranteed better than him.
Hakeem, I think, is better than him. Just based off championships and accolades. Give me Shaq.
I'll give you Shaq.
Shaq is better than him right now. Give me Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I'll absolutely give you Kareem. And then that's it. Everything else is kind of debatable. Wilt, Bill Russell. We can go back to Bill Walton. We can go to Alonzo Mourning. We can go to Patrick Ewing. We can go to any center. I think it's debatable after that.
Alonzo Mourning, of all people? Okay.
Yeah, Alonzo
I'm giving you every center name. I'm giving you any sort of argument.
No, I don't think there's another center that's not debatable. I think they would all be debatable. Now, I'm not saying Jokic wins the debate.
Someone. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, the majority of the best centers came from the 90s. We're talking about Hakeem, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal.
Is he better than Dwight?
Came from the 90s. He is, of course, better than Dwight Howard. Yeah.
Prime Dwight?
Dwight did not have the offensive game. Dwight was so good defensively that he didn't need the offensive game. But he would have been better if he had it.
I mean, yeah, of course. But they both so far have done the same thing in their career. Like they've taken a team. I mean, Jokic
did not win a championship until the end of his career.
No, but he took a team to a finals appearance.
That's not the same. Not the same at all.
He also didn't win 3 MVPs.
I'm not saying it's the same.
You just said they both accomplished the same. They haven't accomplished the same.
But no. I'm saying they've been to the same places, and they've been to the same places. I'm not saying stats or anything. They've just been to the same places. That's not an unfamiliar territory. Dwight taking a team to a championship after the best player. He also won 3 defensive awards in a year. Like he was arguably the best defender for like a 5-year span. I just think we should have a deeper dive.
He's arguably the best center for a very long time.
Yeah, no, he was the best center in the league. I'm not saying that he's better. I'm just saying I think that's an argument, depending on play style and.
Dwight Howard's not a top 5 center of all time, and I'm a Dwight Howard fan.
I don't think he's top 10.
I'm the biggest Dwight Howard fan you probably know.
Damn, Dwight Howard's not top 10. I don't want to do this right now. It's going to be a long ass conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Go ahead.
Do you think he's top 10? Just really quick. Do you? Yes or no?
I think it's possible. Yes, I do think it's possible. I think it's not as easy to say no as you think it is, but I would not be mad if he doesn't make the list after we would debate it, because I do think it's possible to get 10 names. But I definitely do think the argument can be had he can get there. But it's about Jokic. At the end of the day, Jokic is better than Dwight Howard. I think that is by a landslide, unfortunately. Jokic is a 3-time MVP. He led a team to the championship. It's not the same. It will never be.
It's not a knock on anybody else. Some people are just not going to be as good as the greatest player to ever play basketball.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. But
I'm not saying it's him, but it's just the truth.
So speaking of greatness, somebody else who has also been considered the greatest player in the world of basketball for a vast majority of his career, if not 100% of his career, probably 95% of his career, he was considered the best ever.
At least since Miami.
And that is LeBron James. LeBron James has had some interesting altercations on live TV in the middle of a game. Did you guys get a chance?
I love it. I'm here for it.
Did you guys get a chance to see all of the fiasco between LeBron James and his good buddy Stephen A. Smith?
how I feel about
real
it.
quick,
I'm going to be honest.
Let me describe the situation for the listeners who may have not tapped in just yet. But LeBron James approached Stephen A. Smith during a game. I think the game was nearing the end, I believe, but it wasn't over just yet, if I'm not mistaken.
It was the third quarter.
And Stephen A. Smith has been very vocal about what occurred. It's nothing that they're hiding. It's nothing that they're keeping secret. They've been very vocal about what happened. Essentially, LeBron James has some choice words about Stephen A. Smith's comments about Bronny and the negativity that the media has had towards Bronny and his development and his time in the NBA so far. So, according to Stephen A. Smith, LeBron James told him to, shut the fuck up, essentially, and stop talking about Bronny and all that good stuff. So, ever since Stephen A. Smith has gone on his show on ESPN to talk about it, he's gone on Gilbert Arenas' podcast to talk about it. I'm assuming he's already talked about it on his own podcast as well. So he is definitely milking this media frenzy. What do you guys think about the situation?
I think it's kind of
weird. Go ahead.
As a father, that's a great move to make. Like, that's your son. You don't want to be talked negatively. But, he's also an adult now in the league. And, nothing good comes out of LeBron doing that. No one's going to look at Bronny and say, oh, wow, LeBron stood up for him. No, people are going to be like, oh, Bronny's kind of soft. Maybe he shouldn't have been here. Maybe he got here off of his father's back, like everyone said he did. I don't think it was needed. I like it as a dad, but did it help Bronny?
Not at all. I think LeBron was an idiot for doing that. I agree with you 100%. That's a grown man. That's not a child anymore, LeBron. He is a millionaire in the NBA. You know what I mean? He was a millionaire before you came to the NBA because he's your son. So he's been a millionaire since he was born. You know what I mean? That man was a man before he even thought he was a man. You know what I mean? So it's to me, it's like, I don't know. I'm big on I'm a father myself. I'm big on self-sufficiency. I'm big on being able to, go by life, figuring it out on your own and having the mental capacity to figure life out as you go. And as parents, we're here to help you, not do it for you. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's what LeBron did. He didn't help his son. He just went up to Stephen A. Smith and did it for him. I was like, the person who was supposed to go up to you and talk to you and tell you to shut the fuck up was Bronny, not LeBron. He's not a baby, and it doesn't look good. That doesn't look good at all. He's not a little kid. If he was in high school, then I would understand that. And now we're talking about, that's my child. He's a kid. Bronny's probably at the point where he lives by himself already. You know what I mean? He's probably already moved out.
He has been living by himself since college.
So it's to me, it's like, that's not the right move to make. He's too grown for that, and I don't think it sets a good precedence for Bronny. I think it makes it worse for Bronny. And all the shit that you want him to stop talking, it's gonna get worse now. It's like your kid gets bullied at school, and you come to school and stick up for him. Now he's gonna get bullied even more. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta learn to teach your kids how to handle business by themselves, and whether it's stay away from it and stay on your own lane, or whether it's a different approach, whatever parenting methods you prefer. I'm not here to debate that part, but teach them. Don't do it for them. That's my thought process always.
Yeah, I'm going to have to be the bad guy, per usual. I don't think Braun is wrong 100%. I do think where I come from, and Nas is from the same place I am in Puerto Rico, something like that could be viewed as very, very, very soft. And the thing because I'm a father of a son who also plays sports. So not obviously an NBA player, right, per se, but, he plays his YMCA soccer. And in my head, if I hear someone talking negatively on my son when he's, let's say, this was a bigger picture, he's trying to make money out of this. And, if you guys follow Stephen A. Smith, he has a bad habit of finding a player during a season and destroying them or trying to embarrass them the whole season. And he does anytime he can talk about Bronny in a negative fashion. He's never had a good take about Bronny. So it's one thing when you're LeBron James, you could take it. Not really. It's just Stephen A. Smith, sometimes he just finds a player and he kind of just harbors on that player. I've seen it do it before. He's
No,
had a
no, no.
lot of different players
Just
that
real
he's
quick.
done that before.
I was asking you a question.
He's
Is there a
actually been
reason
playing
for him to
good.
speak highly
No,
of?
but he's been playing well in the G League. He's averaging 25 and 5. I mean, statistically, he's gotten better throughout the season. He hasn't gotten worse. He's the 55th pick. I don't put a lot of value on him becoming like the starting point
I
guard
got
for the
distracted.
Lakers
Why did we get to this
anytime
point?
soon.
I got distracted.
I asked a question because he
Tyler
said
wanted to know if there's a
Stephen A.
reason
Smith
why
only
Stephen
talks
A.
negatively.
Smith is.
Oh,
He really, yeah, and he's averaging 25 and 5 in the G League. He's 19, 20 years old. What? He's still a young man. He's still trying to come into his own. And like, what if LeBron did have a dad who could stick up for him and talk about him in that way? You know what I'm saying? I'd look at it in the psychology way of things. I think LeBron was doing something that he doesn't know because he's never had a father. He doesn't know how to do well. And seeing your son get picked on by someone who's picked on you your whole career, or who's kind of just tore apart people you know, other NBA players, sometimes people get tired of it, and I'm not. Sometimes I'm not mad at the father side of LeBron. As the businessman, as the mogul, though, this doesn't look good because it kind of looks like a hothead move. Like he did it in the middle of a game. That's my only problem. He did it in the middle of a game. He wanted people to see him bash Steven. That's all. Everything LeBron does is calculated. There's not a move he's not making that he doesn't think about 2 or 3 times. I don't think that move was strictly emotional. I think that was a move to set a tone. Like we're going to stop this now, or it's going to be a problem later. And I think LeBron has more power than Stephen A. Smith at the end of the day, or I think they equal each other out. So I don't think this is going to be the last of LeBron and Stephen A. going back and forth. I don't think so. I think this will keep going.
yeah. I don't think.
Do you think it's going to help Bronny though?
I think in public it was just the wrong decision. At the end of the day, there's no way around it. It's like
Yeah.
you're not gonna go to your kid's school and cause a scene. What? So they can call the cops
Yeah.
on you? Like that's not necessary.
I
know
agree
what
with
mean?
you on that.
Like you handled stuff in private, and at the end of the day, none of us can say we understand because Bronny is grown. It's different. It's completely
Yeah.
different than our
Yeah.
children. My kids are 12 and 3. You know what I mean? Completely different. Of course, I'm gonna stick up for my 12-year-old. Of course,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in your face about my 12-year-old. But when they're freaking 18, 19, 20 years old, it's like I'm trying to be retired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
be out here
Well, I mean,
getting into this business. Like I'm gonna sit you down and I'm gonna help you understand. This is how you can approach it. You have 2 ways to go about this. You can either fight back and let that person know that you don't appreciate the way that they're speaking to you. If it's a matter of going to higher ups to let them know that you don't appreciate this, whatever the realm of the scope of possibilities are here. Or just let it go. It's like, this is the business. This is what you signed up for.
Yeah.
I know you didn't sign up to be LeBron's son. I get that. But you did sign up to be an NBA player. So now this is where you are. Now you're going to figure out how to deal with it.
And you're an adult.
I will say this before the thought leaves my head and all this is gone. If we take this microscope away from Bronny's now the player who almost died playing basketball at USC, and now is in the NBA trying to make a career out of himself, and now is doing really good in the NBA. It was his first year of college.
It was USC.
Yeah, he got his heart attack. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was high school.
Yeah.
He played 2 years in college?
Nah. No, it was in the beginning of the year. Yeah, it was in the beginning. It was like the summer.
Yet.
That summer going into college. Yeah.
Oh.
Wasn't it right before, like,
barely
around the time they had?
It was a preseason game.
Yeah. But regardless, the point was he was in college. Like, I don't think we're talking the same way about Bronny. Obviously, Bronny being Bronny, he's LeBron's son. But I just think more about, like, the adversity this kid's faced to, like, get to this point. I don't care if he's rich, whatever. Everybody's rich. But Shaq's son had the same problem, Sharif, and he did not bounce back as the same player. And the fact that Bronny's now playing professional basketball and he contributes on some type of level at the G League at a high clip, I think we need to start thinking, like, is he meeting certain expectations and kind of just making this more of like a realistic thing? Can he be a rotational player in the NBA? I think he can if the development keeps going. And I just feel like the microscope of him sucks because his dad is who his dad is. I just don't think he's a bad player, whether it's LeBron's son or not. I don't think he's a bad player. He gives me a lot of.
If he
Davion
wasn't
Mitchell.
LeBron's son, we would have never heard of him our entire life. We would have never.
No,
heard
we
of
would
him.
have. He would
Also,
have been the kid.
Sharif,
We would have never heard of him.
Sharif played better in the G League. Sharif did play better in the G League. I will say that.
We would have never
Did he
heard of him.
average 20, 20, and
Just-
5?
It would have been a story on the
Sharif didn't
news.
almost
Well,
die, though.
Bronny's not averaging that either.
It would have been a
Bronny's
story on
averaging
the news.
13.
It would have been a story on the news that we would have forgotten about quickly. As simple as that. Because guess what? Other players have also had these health issues. I was just speaking to somebody a couple weeks ago about how crazy it is how these young players have had these different types of heart problems. And it's like a little crazy to me that it's happening all within the same few years, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, like, you asked me to name them, I can't. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be an asshole. That's just a fact. I can't name them.
There's a lot.
I'm not trying to be that guy. I know that sounds very negative, but that's just a fact. I can count on my hand how many of them I've heard of, at least 4 or 5. Can I name any of them? No, just LeBron James Jr. So I genuinely do
Well,
believe
to me,
if it was not LeBron's son, we would never be speaking about this basketball player because there's nothing about him that matters to us. He is nobody.
We don't even talk about Len Bias. We don't talk about any of the. We don't talk about Reggie Lewis. We don't talk about any of these players that have died, and they never even got to play.
yeah, I think my argument is more like he made it to the league and kept going and healed
because
from it
he's
and
LeBron's son.
is doing something.
Because he's LeBron's son.
No, LeBron's son. I guess, bro. I don't want to do this conversation.
Because he's
Well,
not
this
doing good in
argument-
the G League, Pluto.
There's no world where
He's not doing good in
LeBron
the
James
G League.
Jr.
The
gets drafted by an NBA
I said the
team.
last 8 games.
There's
he's
no
been
world.
doing very
That's
well.
now
He's averaging
hindsight.
5 and 5.
That's
I'll give
now
you that.
hindsight. On
Yeah,
draft day,
yeah.
draft day, there's no college numbers to say I want to draft this kid. There is no college numbers. Just a birth certificate. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, last 8 games, you might be right. I don't know about that.
Yeah, he is doing really good.
That's
I saw that recently too. That is correct.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see towards the end of his career. We'll see what happens and what pans out. I will say, Nas, I think you're right to a certain extent. I don't think we know who he is, but I do think we still hear to hear the story of someone and then persevering past that. To me, is still, no matter how much money you have, no matter who your dad is, it's still remarkable to almost die on the basketball court and still to be playing basketball.
Nobody's saying anything.
It just also sucks.
That's
having your dad stand up
that's
for
my
you
that's
in
my
front of everyone on national TV.
Yeah, it does.
That does suck. That
That
one
is
hurts.
100%
I
true.
don't like
it is
that.
it is remarkable, just like it was
No,
remarkable
I don't
for all the other
argue that.
players.
They didn't come back to
Yeah, look at Brandon
rest in
Ingram.
peace.
Brandon Ingram, bro, he bounced back from a blood clot that we thought he was going to be out of the league for. He had the same thing as Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
It's great when they do it. This whole thing stems from I don't think that LeBron doing what he did was a good idea still. But I also understand why he did it.
I think we all agree on that. Yeah. And which is like a double-edged sword at that point. Like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. You know what I'm saying? I think you got to do it in a better position. Yeah,
that's something that he should have done in private. Stephen A. Smith even said it himself. He has his phone number. You know, if LeBron James calls you, you're gonna answer. Like, there's no person on earth, you know what I mean, that's not gonna answer if LeBron James is calling. So like, it could have been done in a better situation. But enough of that. You know, on a more positive note, there are some other fathers in the NBA doing some more positive things. Stephen Curry, being a father has absolutely nothing to do with this, but Stephen Curry, but he is a father in the NBA. He just became the assistant general manager at Davidson, which is cool. I think the only thing I really wanted to say about it, and you guys can tag on after, is it's cool to see Stephen Curry accomplish all this stuff. While he's still playing high caliber basketball. You know, he definitely isn't the Stephen Curry of the MVP years, but he is still a phenomenal player, still an all-star caliber guy. And the fact that he is doing all this, assistant GM at Davidson, signing NBA players to his shoe brand, you know, like De'Aaron Fox last year. All these things is dope, super cool. I don't think, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think something like this has happened in the NBA. I don't think a player has been this active with side ventures like this. You know what I mean? Like, maybe
we're underselling it too.
Stuff.
He also just joined the Unrivaled League as an investor and as a something as well, something major in it. I think another assistant. He's doing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to know
He's
where he has all the
busy
time
year.
to do all this. Yeah, I just want to know. That's my thing. That's what I thought about. I was like,
But
yo,
rich
he's
people
trying to win a
delegate. Rich
championship with
people
Jimmy
don't do
Butler.
this stuff by themselves. They just delegate.
Yeah. I
Man, they're
guess it goes
12
up
and
to
one
him,
since
and
they
then he
got Jimmy.
decides
I'd
to
keep
there.
doing this
Yeah,
too.
He's also an assistant GM, so
yeah,
he doesn't actually have as much responsibility as we think. I think this is just him building up the resume. So in order when he retires, he might want to have a bigger role at Davidson, and I think he needs to go through these steps to be able to do that. Um, I'm assuming he doesn't have that large of a responsibility as an assistant GM.
yeah. I don't. I think for
Crazy.
me, it's like
Crazy.
I think it's to uh, get these recruits. Honestly, I think it's more of a recruit thing. I think it's to say, hey, Steph Curry, he's here.
Yeah.
You can touch him, you can see him, you can hear him, you can get advice from him. I think it's more of an access thing to these younger players. And now I
Come to
think you're right.
Davidson. We
I
got
think
Steph
this is
Curry
going to
here.
be. Yeah, I think it's going to be something that a lot of colleges now mortgage with a lot of ex NBA players, where they're going to put them in positions to kind of be like, Deion Prime is for Colorado, what Davidson, what Stephen Curry is going to be for Davidson. I think this is going to be in a way to like leverage younger players to come play here, and it's a pipeline now. This is a pipeline to get where you want to go to in life. Like this, like how what Kentucky was for the NBA at one point. I think not saying that Davidson's there, but I think having Steph Curry there, they can build something like that, which it would be awesome for a college that small like that to have, because I'm a big Wichita State fan. Back in the day when they used to get to the 64 the March Madness all the time and beat these teams, upset them. But yeah, I think it's going to be
I know
dope for him
somebody
to
that
have
went to
that like
Wichita State.
position. Yeah, Wichita State has some good basketball players. Larry Shannon, I think he's from Wichita State. I'm pretty sure he's from Wichita State. But yeah, um, that whole Davidson thing, I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna bring a lot of players. He also, I don't think we throw this in a resume. He also, the person who helps him design a lot of this stuff is Brendan Jennings as well. So he's really big on giving like players an opportunity to like make money for themselves and market themselves as well, which is awesome as well. I think it's a dope, super dope. How he's always giving back.
It's gonna help. It's gonna help that school a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's doing cool things
yeah.
for sure. Some more news as
I
well.
think
We got
Tumani
the
Kamara just came from that school. Oh my bad.
Wichita State.
Yeah, Wichita State. They got a long list of some
No,
decent players.
Davidson. I kind of went back, but it wasn't even Davidson anyways. Dayton. I was so wrong.
Close enough. But speaking of players coming from the Stephen Curry tree of shoe brands now, we got De'Aaron Fox. I believe this just came out today, if I'm not mistaken. Days just mixed together now. But he's out for the season. He's getting a surgery to repair something. I forget what it was, a finger or something? I can't remember.
It's Cooper
Yeah,
Flag
it was
surgery.
hurt since
That's
he's on
what
the
it's called.
Kings. They were already talking about when he was on the Kings about sitting him down when that season was kind of going away.
Yeah, I do remember that actually. And we got the speculations that it's the Cooper Flag sweepstakes, but I don't think that's as reasonable for them. I still think that they could end better than these other teams because these other teams are just like playing pretty horrendous basketball right now. Not that the Spurs are playing phenomenally, but they are definitely playing better than some of these other teams below them. They're actually 21st overall in the league.
Oh, there's no way.
Huh?
There's no way they're
Yeah,
catching
bro.
up to there's no way that they're catching up to the Hornets or the Wizards. And I don't. Who's on the West? They're never
Jazz
catching
and
the
the
Jazz.
Pelicans.
They're never catching the Jazz.
Yeah, there's no way
They'll
they're going to
definitely
catch
have like
up.
a top 10 pick this year. They'll have a top 10 pick this year, though.
But it's not going to be
Which
Cooper
would
Flag.
be-
I bet you
That's
they'll
the
have a
point
top
I'm making.
6.
Yeah, for them to get Cooper Flag,
think
they
they'll
would
have a top
essentially
six?
just have to lose every game that's remaining. And I still don't even think that gives them a large enough opportunity because,
Do they have more than 30 wins?
no,
They're close. They're at like 26, I think.
27.
Oh, that's a lot better than the Wizards. Wish they had 26 wins.
The Wizards wish they
The
had
Wizards
have
14
13.
wins.
That's what you did, man.
Wait, do the Wizards have more? The Wizards have less wins than the Pistons last year. Is that true?
I
Yeah.
don't
Oh my
remember.
God!
Shout out to Kuzma.
Right
Shout
now,
out to
they have
Kuzma.
less wins than the Pistons last year. They have one less. Pistons had 14,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah,
were talking
that
some
is
cash money
crazy.
shit.
Yeah, but I don't think this is the Cooper Flag sweepstakes at all. I don't think they can be bad enough to get anywhere near the bottom of the league. Um, but hopefully, De'Aaron Fox with a speedy recovery. I am interested to see how this dynamic works. Even though I'm not a gigantic fan of the trade, I still, now that it's here, would love to see how it works out. Um, and unfortunately for CP3, he's going to have to play another year if he plans on pursuing a championship again. Um, and we'll see. Maybe he thinks it's going to be with Wemby. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he goes to bandwagon somewhere else, which I think at this point he probably should.
He will do.
I think he probably
Send
should.
him to the Lakers.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him. You can give him
I mean,
a
he's
solid
not-
10 minutes per game. Give him all the minutes that Gabe Vincent plays, and he'll be more productive.
He could be
I still
he could
think
talk
Gabe
to Austin
Vincent
Reeves.
over him.
He can
Yeah,
what?
that's true. That's true.
He can what?
He
Talk to
could
Austin
teach
Reeves.
Austin Reeves. He could teach Austin Reeves how to be a better ball handler, be a better passer. We can have two.
He'll be a really good mentor for sure. He could teach Luca. He could definitely teach Luca some things about discipline and just overall being a better leader on the floor. And,
How to cheat better.
yeah, how to cheat better. Cheating is
Real
part
quick,
of winning
guys.
these days. If you ask the Celtics and the
Well,
Patriots.
I don't think he cheats. I just think he knows the rules very well, and it seems like he's cheating. But
We were talking about two different
real
cheats. We were absolutely talking about two different ones.
real quick though, is there a timetable on Wemby, guys? I don't. I'm not.
He's just out
Sure.
for the season.
I'm pretty sure he's back next season.
Yeah,
Are we 100%
it's a
confident
precautionary
of that?
thing. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's just
precautionary. They
precautionary?
said.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So
I think it's already
well,
gone.
I mean, we could talk about this now with San Antonio. You guys think Greg's coming back? Just to throw this in there,
I don't think so.
because it seems like a lot of dark looming things. I want to know kind of prying, but I want to know the extent of the stroke. Did it because I have a grandfather, rest in peace, who had a stroke, and the rest of half of his body was, you know how that goes. Kind of, he couldn't use it. It was incapable of moving his arm, and his leg on the right side. Do you think that's what happened to
I think
George?
if it was that drastic, it would have came out by now. But
They said it was mild.
Popovich is old at the end of the day. I don't think he needs to keep doing this, or he needs to take a different role with the team. Something that he could just sit at a desk and relax. All this heartache of dealing with these young ass basketball players that don't listen, bro. He's too old for that, man. It's too much pressure. It's too much yelling. It's too much, trying to get these guys in order. It's like these are kids, bro, that are still learning the game. And at this point in his career, bro, be running up and down practice facility, getting these guys to block in on defense, getting these guys to make the right pass, to follow the plays correctly. It's like I think it's
The
time for him to
traveling.
retire, man. I really do think so. I would hate for Popovich to
I trust his staff too. His staff has been
Yeah.
great.
I would hate for him to
He's always
overextend
had
his
a really
career.
good staff.
Yeah,
But-
be a president of basketball operations again, like solely that. He can still make decisions,
I just
and
think-
I think he'll still make great ones. He doesn't have to be on the court.
Yeah, but the kind of guy he is, I just think this would mess with him mentally, regardless. Like he has to be in the mix. He's hands on. He's always been hands on. So I just feel like in general, I think he should just retire. I think he's done enough for basketball. There's not much more you could do. Like you won 5 chips. You had arguably the best power forward on your team. Probably one of the best teams in general ever, dynasty wise. Like I don't think there's more Pop has to give us that we want. Pop has no point to prove anymore. And I always say, man, like he's made so much money. His wife has passed away while he's coached as well. I just want him to enjoy his grandchildren. Like just forget it. Like go see the San Antonio's twice a year. Have a George Popovich night or something like that. But I just feel like he's good, bro. Like any
Greg?
position he takes, I think he's just going to care. Yeah, Greg. I keep calling him George. Greg, I think any position he takes, he's just going to care too much. And it's going to stress him out in general. I think it's going to stretch him out too much for him to even like want to not be a winner or have insight or tell the coach some stuff. Like, hey, I think you should do that or that. Like Coach K went through that the season after he retired. He was just at like almost every other game and like just pretty much like still at the practice facility, still has influence on the Duke team. I just feel like sometimes those people just need to just chill, man. Just walk away from the game. You paid the game enough. I do believe in that.
Shit, Coach K is older than
Take a
Pop.
break for once.
Yeah, you guys,
Pop
he still
looks
like goes
old.
to the facility and works out. Yeah, Pop
looks
bad.
like he's much older than he is. Pop does not. If you told me right now Pop was 70, I would think you're lying.
Because
Yeah, I
you
thought
think
Pop
he's
was like
older?
75. Yeah,
Pop
Pop
looks
looks
like
like
he's
80.
like 85. Pop looks the same age as my grandpa.
Yeah.
My grandpa's old.
Shout out to shout out to Peepaw.
Oh, he is
He's an
actually
old man,
70.
bro.
He's actually 76 years old. Wow.
And I think you're lying.
Yeah.
I thought he was younger. I actually thought he was
Flat
younger.
out. You're crazy.
No, I thought he looked.
You
I
look
thought
at
he,
Pop and you thought younger?
I thought he looked older than he was.
I look,
This man saw the wrinkles and he's like, he's got to be 50. There's no way.
No, I thought he was in
He's-
his 60s.
he's-
I really did. I thought he was in his late 60s.
what? Nas.
You're sick.
Nas,
You're
60s.
sick.
He was in
Yeah.
his 60s when he won his first championship.
He was
Well, that's
60
not
years
true.
old when Tim Duncan was born.
That's also not true.
He's never been
It's
younger.
It's also not true. All right, let's move
Boy,
on to
like,
the next. Now we're just telling lies to prove our
Spoiled
point.
milk.
Let's talk about the next thing. I see somebody added something here to the notes. I want to disprove the rumors because this was false information shared by the media. The Mavs did not have 7 players. The Mavs actually had 9 players that same game because I actually went back to the game to look at it when it happened, literally that same night because I saw it late. And I was like, there's no way the Mavs played a game with 7 players. That sucks. I wonder what everybody's minutes looked like. And they had 9. So 7 players got on the court.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, I promise you. I swear to you. And swear to you. Like
No,
I literally looked at it that
I
same
can tell
day.
you right now, it was. They only had 7 players. They had 2 two-way players that were not eligible to play.
They had 7 players suit up and play. I promise you. The game that were that. I promise you, I'm not wrong on this one. Or the game that got announced. I went to go look at it that same night. I'm looking at the game right now. They had 9 players actually play on the court.
They had 9 players playing the court
Like played basketball minutes. Like,
because the two two-way players were not eligible to play.
There's 9
I remember
players
that
that
being
played.
the
I remember that day because I remember seeing it on Instagram that the picture of or the video of them playing the Suns and they had 7 players at the warming up, blah blah blah, and that was trending. And then I went to go look at it. I was like, they didn't have 7 players play. I see 9 players here.
I think you're mixing it up. So they started with 9. Walker Kessler Edwards get injured.
I'm looking
Dwight Powell
at the
gets
box
injured.
score. I'm looking at the box score. 9 players played.
Yeah. So 9 players, 2 people get injured. 9 minus 2 is how much?
So they had 9 players play. What are you saying? They had 9 players play.
The whole thing was 7 active players. They did not have 9 active players because 2 people got injured in that game.
They had 9 players play. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is they showed the video of 7 players warming up. That's what I'm
yeah, I
talking
get what
about.
Nas is saying.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
what
what
I'm
video
talking
you're
about.
So,
My
like
bad.
the way.
That was the
Yeah,
video that
Nas
was
is saying
trending.
more
They
so-
showed 7 players warming up, and everybody was like, "Damn, everybody on the Mavs is injured." Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the topic, and I wasn't going to say that.
Oh no, that was a trending. That's
Yeah.
what, I figured it
You
made
kind
sense
of
'cause
hijacked my topic.
that was the
and then
trending
talk about
video that
something
came
else.
out. That was the trending video that came
So
out. They had 7 players warming up.
Yeah, no. Nas is right. They were like pretty much like promoting it as like, hey, there's only 7 players playing tonight, when really there was 9. I get what Nas is saying. Because it made it. I thought there were only 7 players. I didn't know that 9 players played until.
Oh yeah, I was
during
never
the
going to
game.
say any of that.
And when did they have 7
No,
players?
They had to
Tyler,
bring up
Tyler.
two-way players.
Tyler, I'm not saying you were. I'm saying the internet was saying this. This is what was being given to the fans like me and you who take in media.
Okay.
The media was saying that. Yeah. No, not me. Me and
I'm
Nas
above the
are
media.
not saying that you're wrong.
Oh god.
Yeah, 100%. You
When
are
did they have
way
7
better
players
than
play
me.
though?
That game. So they had 9 total players that had played in that game. Walker Kessler and Dwight Powell hit each other in the head. They collide, and they go into concussion protocol. They only have 7 left.
Walker Kessler. Okay, that's a different game.
I keep saying Walker Kessler because Walker Kessler is the one that I remember. It's like Kessler Edwards or something. I'll tell you. I keep saying the wrong
Wester
name.
Kessler. or
What
something
game
like
is
that.
it? Are you talking about the same game I am?
Yeah,
Nah, I'm
Against the
talking
Suns?
about the Suns game. Yeah, no, I'm talking about the
I'll
Suns
tell you
game.
right now.
Your game must be different than mine.
It was.
Yeah, the Suns.
It was against the Suns.
Who is
About in the fourth quarter, Kessler Edwards and Dwight Powell
What team is
collide
he on?
heads. I keep saying Walker Kessler, don't I?
I see
Kessler
him now.
Edwards. He's on. Yeah.
Yeah.
He played 31 minutes.
Okay.
The man played a full game.
No, they did, but they only had 7 active players to end the game. There was only 7 players left. They had to bring up after this. They had to bring up 2-way players that were not eligible to come into that game. So that game, they only had 7 players that were eligible to play for the remaining 6 minutes because of injuries that they had to 2 players on their team.
Oh, well, yeah, that's pretty.
That's still crazy. They still went into the game with only 9 active players.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's still crazy.
This doesn't make it. That's crazy. If someone on the court got injured, they could only sub in 1 player.
Listen, I'm a Lakers fan. There was a point in our lifespan where we had 5 players on the court. One of them fouled out, and he could not be taken out of the game because we did not have.
You guys got a technical for it.
We got a technical every time we fouled because of that.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah, we had
5. I remember that,
actually.
I remember that.
So we had more than 5 active players, but
that was like 2008.
Those extra players. No, that was Steve Nash days. Those extra players got injured, so we only had 5 players left over at that point. And fucking Robert Sacre, if you remember him, fouled out, but we cannot.
I do remember him.
Apparently, I learned that day that in the NBA, you cannot eject a player if there is no other players available to play. So they had to keep him on the court, and it's a technical foul every single time he fouls, on top of the bonus that they're already getting.
2 free throws? Okay.
Outrageous. I learned something new that day, and I'm just glad it never happened again. But it was crazy. So this whole situation ain't nothing to me. Until you
also,
go through
somebody got injured in that game, and they were just sitting on the bench waiting to be called back in, and they were injured. I remember them laying on the side.
Yeah, they don't have a very
And then they ended up not being able to bring them in.
They did beat the Spurs with only 8 players a couple days ago. So they're getting something done.
Didn't Dallas beat the Knicks, the Suns, actually, that game too?
I don't think so.
No, they lost.
No, they did not. They lost. Not by much. Okay. Which brings me to the Suns and how trash they are. They can't even beat an undermanned Mavericks team. But the Suns are also on the tabloids. I feel like they will be for as long as they have that trio together. They will be the butt of the media's joke. The butt of the media's jokes. So there's more rumors of Kevin Durant after the whole fiasco of him being in trade talks and him not being happy, and now the locker room's all awkward, and now we got the issues with Coach Bud, now Devin Booker. It's like, back and forth with issue after issue. The world is now talking about potential landing spots for Kevin Durant, as he is not a fan of toxic environments, as we know. And whenever toxic environments make themselves present, he makes himself absent. So where do you guys
seem to follow him a lot? They seem to follow him quite a bit.
Where do you guys think Kevin Durant is going to request a trade to now?
Where does he fit? Let's start there before we even get into it. Where do you
Financially, I don't know. Basketball-wise, anywhere.
Of course, yeah. He's one of those players that you can just plug in and he does his thing, and you can just let him do his thing in the corner. Golden State did a really good job of letting him just do his thing within still having their team around. But I don't see anywhere where he's going to be the first man option. I don't think Kevin Durant on certain teams is the first man option. I don't think he's ever been the first man option, honestly.
What?
Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant?
I think Curry was still number 1 over him when he was in.
Kevin Durant was the number 1 scoring option on that team when he was there. That's for sure.
Anytime a play broke down or anything happened involving anybody, it went to Kevin Durant.
In OKC, his entire life, he was the number 1 scoring option, and in Brooklyn, he was also the number 1 scoring option. And I would
mentally, let's try this again.
I would argue he's the number 1 scoring option in Phoenix as well.
I don't think he's number 1
as being the leader of an NBA, as being a leader of an NBA player, an NBA team, as leading men to a championship. He's never been that guy.
Yeah,
he's never been the guy to. That's where I'm getting at with this. So
See what
Now
happens when you
you can't
explain
put him on a
yourself? The
team.
world is a better place.
Sound like every girl I've ever dated in the past. But
Oh, okay.
what I will what I will say is I think Dallas is I think the best fit when it comes to what he does and what he could bring and the offensive firepower he has. He's average. He can add. He's a quick
I have something
25.
to say after
He
this.
can. Yeah. It's a
Maybe you
quick
should have waited
25,
until
and then
after
another
this.
place. The last place, another place I could think of if they don't do good in the playoffs is Cleveland. Those are my two options. And I know it sounds weird, KD and Cleveland, but he would fit that team perfectly.
Could you imagine a team up of KD and Kyrie? That would, like, offensively, that team would probably be unstoppable. I think a
I can't
team up of
stand this
KD
guy.
and Kyrie would probably win a championship. They're just so unstoppable offensively. It's almost like pairing KD and Devin Booker, or KD and James Harden, or KD and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. It just doesn't work. I think by this point, I don't know. I don't think many teams enter that sweepstakes that are actually like legit contenders. I don't think the
Contender,
Rockets go
yeah.
for him because I think a lot of these teams are looking at the other player on the Suns that will eventually become available. Because what is going to happen with the Suns once they trade KD? Everyone's going to be waiting out for Devin Booker instead. I think we're going to have some desperate teams like the Heat or something go for KD, or a team that we know is not serious about winning, like, the 76ers, but no good team is actually going for him.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Uh, NBA teams hate Google. They hate Google. They do not like historical data. They do not like to go into the history books and just research what has happened in the past when teams attempt this level of team up, right? So, like, yes, it sounds cool to say Kevin Durant on the Mavericks with Kyrie, but there's a handy dandy internet browser called Google that can show you exactly what happens when Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving get together. There is a handy dandy notebook, or I'm sorry, where did I get that from? From handy dandy notebook. Where's that from? Why did I just say
Blue's
that?
Clues.
Blue's Clues. Yeah. God damn, what's wrong with me? But there's a handy dandy internet browser that will show you what happens when Kevin Durant has to be a leader or the most experienced player on the team or the most capable player on the team. He needs support. He just simply does.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple. He
He
needs
does.
the Stephen Currys and Draymond Greens of the world. He needs the Russell Westbrooks of the world because he's just not that type of guy. He needs a dog that's going to bark and bite when he's just chilling in the corner, shooting and doing his thing. You know what I mean? He needs somebody who's going to lead in the locker room, who's going to give the halftime speeches, who's going to call out the teammates who aren't getting back on defense, who aren't running in transition, who aren't, cutting when they're supposed to. He needs that type of player with him, and Dallas doesn't have it. I don't really know what Cleveland has to offer in that realm.
Well, hold on. I don't think Kyrie Irving's the same player he was with the Nets mentally. I think on this team he is their leader. Even when Luka was there, I think he was still their leader mentally. So
I don't.
I don't know if you're getting
I
the
think
same.
Kyrie's changed.
I don't think he's. Yeah, me too. You don't think Kyrie's changed?
No, not at all. He hasn't.
I think
shown
Kyrie's
me
the
anything.
same player he's always been,
He hasn't
and it
shown me
shows you in
anything.
his play style. He's
No.
So to
I'm
me,
not talking
to be a
about play
leader as a
styles
point
like number.
guard,
I'm talking about as a person, like as the he's their team leader. It's not even when Luka was there, he was still their team leader mentally. I'm not talking
So
about
he
stats.
can be.
None of that.
He can be a team leader. Is he a good one? Is what the problem is. I don't believe he is. I don't believe he is.
I think he's a better one than he was with the Nets, and I think the quality of talents and the pieces they had
He
together
set a
make
very
more
low bar,
sense
though.
than on the
what
Nets.
does it take to be a leader,
Yeah,
though?
but
I'm confused because I've never seen anything about Kyrie like ever holding people accountable or like anything like I've never seen any of that.
he's the Mavs organization signed him for. They signed him and gave him that for that reason right there. He changed everything about that team. Like mentally, he got them more focused. He got them to actually understand what winning basketball is. It's said numbers of time by the Mavs organization. This is something I'm not making up. I'm just saying mentally, he's not the same player. And as well, we can make the joke about James Harden or Bradley Beal, but it's not the same team. If we're just going to think about Kyrie Irving, we also got to think KD with Anthony Davis. arguably probably the best forward duo in the NBA next year if they play together. Are they not? Or I mean, they're right up there with
But
Jason
the
Tatum and
issue with
Jaylen
that
Brown to
is,
me.
again, though,
Yeah,
while they're
that
all
one of the
good,
best.
going back to what Nas said, every single one of those players, KD, Kyrie, and AD, all require somebody else to create for them to be efficient,
No, Kyrie.
and they don't have it.
Kyrie can create for himself. No, Kyrie
Anytime
can definitely
Kyrie
create for
has been
himself.
required to create for himself, he has had an unsuccessful basketball year. Every single time. Kyrie Irving has never.
I just
When
think
Kyrie Irving has to dribble the basketball and create over and over again, his team is not successful, and that is proven history.
he went to the finals last year with Luka Doncic, guys.
Exactly. Thank
Are
you.
we?
You just proved my
He
point.
was
Who
the
is
leader.
creating?
Yeah,
You just
he
proved my
was.
point.
He no. He was the vocal leader of that team that went to a championship. That went to a championship once he got there.
That was the previous. That was the
I
previous
don't think
point.
he was a vocal leader
That was
over
the previous
Luka.
point. Tyler just made a different point. That
So
I'm
who's their
addressing.
vocal leader? Wait, hold on. Who's the vocal leader on
I
Dallas?
think it was
Who's the
Luka.
leader on
I think
Dallas?
Luka was absolutely the leader of that team. While he's on that team, I think it was Luka, and that's why everyone has come out to speak so highly of him on that team. That's why they're performing so badly.
I also don't think
is
Luka's a good leader
absolutely
either.
the leader.
I also don't think Luka's a good leader either.
And I don't think he is, but I think he is the leader of the team.
I don't think
he's
Luka was
good.
ever the leader of the Mavericks. I don't think Luka was ever the leader of the Mavericks.
So when Kyrie
Since he's
wasn't
been
there,
there.
who was? When Kyrie wasn't there, who was?
I don't think they were even the. I don't. They weren't in contention at the time when Kyrie was there.
They went to the conference finals.
So
So yes,
when
they
you-
were.
They still have
Yes,
a
they
leader,
were.
though. Every
And
team still has
it's
a leader.
not the same. Yeah, of course, he was their vocal leader, but I don't think it's the nucleus of the team is not the same as those Suns teams or those Nets teams. It was a bunch of guards coming together with a forward. This is another forward who's arguably the best defender in the league at times, with obviously another forward who's arguably the best offensive player. Take Kyrie out this picture. That's yin and yang right there. That's capability of going back to the championship if those two people can stay healthy and consistent. That team is a championship team. If you look at the other pieces,
But who's going
you
to
still
create
have
for
Derek
AD
Lively.
on that team, though?
This is all just
Did you not
proving the
watch
point
the
that I
first-
made. This is all just proving the point that I made.
AD can make his own baskets.
People don't want to
He's-
look at
AD
historical
cannot create
data.
for himself.
People don't want to look at
AD
historical data.
is
That's
not
all.
able
At
to
one
create
point-
for himself anymore.
Hold on. AD was taking the basket up the court for the Lakers at one point. He's not a facilitator, but he can create his own basket off the post. All they got to do is throw it in the post wing. He's in his natural position at the 4 position, where genuinely he's taller than most of the players at that position and more skilled than most of the players at that
But that's
position.
just not how
had
championship
a-
basketball works. That's not how championship basketball works. It's okay that all these guys are great
What?
at creating their own shots. That's phenomenal.
Who's the
What about
facilitator
the-
for Boston?
What about the other 12
Drew Holiday.
players on the team?
Wait. How
That
many
team
assists
is
does he
one of the-
average?
That team is one of the best assist teams in the league. They move the ball. They get
True,
people
yeah.
open.
Yeah, but they
Their
do it.
system
they-
is
they
moving the
do it-
ball.
Yeah, it's all about the system. I don't think it's about one player. I don't think Kyrie Irving and KD matching up makes that team not a winning team, or it doesn't make it like we've never seen Kyrie and KD with a great roster with two great big men. On top of that, all of Hall of Fame power forward. They're not. The third option is not Bradley Beal and James Harden no more, guys. It's Anthony Davis now.
First of all, James Harden was not a bad
So I don't-
option. Don't word it that way.
I'm
Harden
not
was
saying,
phenomenal.
but James Harden, he was not the same player that he was when he left the Rockets.
He was still phenomenal.
Neither is Bradley Beal. They were not the same. They weren't even an ounce of the same player.
And one
they
of
were
the things
season
that you
before.
always
Bradley
fail to
Beal
realize
and-
is when you put together players of this caliber, one of them has to take a step back. They have to. They always do.
And it's going to be AD.
They cannot.
AD just coming off an ACL injury.
You think so?
Or a groin injury, sorry.
Well, let's not get into that. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's going to be AD.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't
Let's-
think it's
let's say
AD.
that part doesn't matter.
I think it's KD.
My point is, you cannot put a big three together and expect them to go out there and average 25 apiece. It's not going to work that way. Somebody has to take a step down. So James Harden took it upon himself to do that and say, I'll take a lesser role, and I will be a different type of player for you guys to make this work.
James Harden and AD are two different players, and they bring two different things. And what James Harden does, AD can't do. James Harden can't go out there and average a double-double. AD can and
But
average
what-
4 blocks and give you
what-
something
what
that you're
James
not
Harden
getting from
does-
James Harden.
What James
KD
Harden does,
and Kyrie
KD
do
needs
too.
to be successful. KD needs what James Harden does to be successful. He needs somebody to create offense that is not just himself. If he's the only one creating offense, he can no longer create for himself because that is the go-to move.
So why?
That's
So
what they
why
know
did
that
they
they're looking
trade
for.
James?
He's not able to get that space.
Why did they change James Harden before they traded Kyrie Irving? Maybe I'm wrong in that, but
Because
why
James
did they
Harden
do
asked
that?
out because of Kyrie.
Yeah,
Kyrie wanted to stay.
them
He
leaving
wanted
that
to leave.
team. Them leaving that team had nothing to do with basketball. That had nothing to do with basketball.
James Harden as well was injured that whole first season when they went to the playoffs. It was Kyrie and KD in that playoff run against the Bucks before Kyrie got hurt. And we all would say if Kyrie never got hurt, would that Nets team have won that championship that year with Kyrie and KD? Who knows? I don't know. But they almost beat them
Because
with Kyrie and
Kyrie
KD.
being a leader.
They beat the
But
championship.
I think if Kyrie was there,
they
they might
almost
win.
beat the championship Milwaukee Bucks team. It's just making me upset because you guys are treating AD like he's like Bradley Beal or James Harden. He's right now in his career, he does way more and does way more intangibles than they can do for their teams than AD can. I'm just saying.
No one's not saying
Spit-wise.
that. I agree with that.
Nobody is saying that. I haven't
The
even said a bad
issue
thing
is
about AD.
you're not
this whole
acknowledging.
time.
You're not
I
acknowledging
never said that you
that
said anything
all
bad
of these
about AD.
people
I'm just saying
that
we're
are
not acknowledging
successful.
AD is.
We are though. What we're saying is all these players that are successful, all these players that have this individual talent. It's individual. They're not set up in team play. AD is the only one that works well in a team consistently. You can plug and play him anywhere, and he's going to do great because he's a defender. None of them consistently create for themselves in crunch time when it really matters. And even worse,
What do you mean?
you're paying three guys.
They're
Wait, really quick.
playmakers.
You're paying. They're not playmakers. That's the
They're
issue. You're
not
playing three
playmakers.
guys
They're
who are
shot
not
creators.
playmakers.
They're not playmakers.
They create shots for themselves, not for others. You're paying your three guys to constantly create shots for themselves. What happens to everyone else on the court? What happens when they have to sit? What happens when they're having an off night? There's no creation for anyone else now. There's nothing.
I think that comes with the style of play they play. They're going to have to give up something like Nas says when it comes to the style of play. They're going to have to play together. They're going to have to figure that out. But I just think that team up would not be the same. I don't think it's the same as the Nets and the Suns where they're literally grabbing nothing and trying to make something out of it. This is something that has been sustainable, has went to the finals. There are certain pieces that are still there that made it to the finals. They got PJ. I just feel like that team is a lot deeper than any team that KD's been on for the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years.
And let's
And I
not
know I'm
forget
just
how
pointing
many
to that team.
Let's
To
not
get
forget how
KD,
many
they have
players.
to trade people.
Yeah, let's not forget how many players they'll have to trade to get KD. How many players they will not be able to re-sign because of KD's new contract. It's not that easy. Basketball's never that easy. I've been.
No, I never said that. I'm just saying.
They're
If
not
they
gonna
have a
have
solid
those same
7,
pieces.
though.
I don't
Yeah.
think they're going to have a
I
solid
don't know. I
seven.
just think about it
The
differently.
PJ Washington's going to have to go. Gafford's going to go. And the Suns said that they want one young, promising player. So most likely Lively's going to go too. Like they're losing a lot.
Yeah.
Their AD is going to have to go back to the 5 to do this trade.
That's the only way I don't think this works is AD goes back to the 5. Literally, that's my mindset on that. That's the
it
only thing
has
I'm
to
hanging my
happen.
hat on.
He would most likely have to.
To make the salaries work, it has to happen.
For a trade to happen,
Well, Derek-
they're not going to have the same players.
Derek Lively could stay. I think Derek Lively can stay. I think they will lose.
Why would
one of
the
those
Suns
big
not
names,
take him?
Gafford or
If I'm the Suns, I'm doing anything
Yes.
to get Derek Lively.
In a Kevin Durant trade, you have to send Lively. There's no other player that's worth it.
So you send Lively and you get rid of Graff. They can afford one of those guys. There's no way they cannot afford one of those guys. Because Lively's on a
With
rookie scale
Anthony
contract,
Davis,
right?
Kyrie Irving, and I already forgot. Kevin Durant,
Kevin Durant.
$50-60 million a year a piece. You think they're just going to be able to build some fantastic roster? You think they'll be able to pay these guys an extension?
I thought
Keep in mind,
30.
AD and Kyrie together make $84 million. That's already 66% of your cap. You can only have one more max player, which is now going to be KD. You're going to have to trade one of Klay Thompson or PJ Washington. Automatically, you're going to have to trade one of them. You're going to also have to trade one of Daniel Gafford, Max Christie, or Derek Lively. Most likely Max Christie or Derek Lively. And that's not even matching the contract yet. We're still not even at the salary yet.
So, I mean, That's not a lot that you're going to gut. You still have Marshall. You still have Hardy. You still have. You're not. They're not going to get rid of
We're
both
not
those
at
big
this
men,
cap
Tyler. I
yet,
don't care
though.
what numbers.
We're
Yeah, but I don't care what numbers you're looking at. They're not getting rid of both the big men. I'm telling you right now, they're going to have to take a cap hit or something. I genuinely think they're not just going to get
they
rid of.
can't
They're
take the
still
cap hit.
pretty
You can't
deep
just
though.
take the cap hit. That's the thing. They
That you
can't
could
just
go
do
over
that.
the luxury tax. There's something called the luxury tax,
They're
though,
already
right?
over it. They're already over by
Are
3.3
they?
million.
I wasn't really thinking about contracts. I was thinking more about fit. I don't have anything to back me up right now, so I
Well,
can't
we
really
haven't
go
even
into that.
mentioned
But I
Klay
definitely
Thompson,
think fit,
who makes over 20 million a year.
he could definitely be
He makes
traded.
15.
He could definitely be let go for KD.
That's why I
He
said
doesn't
one
make
of
that
him or
much.
PJ Washington have to move. But if you're taking away Klay Thompson, that's going to kill your spacing. Because I don't know if you know, AD has not been a shooter recently, and you're now relying on strictly just KD
Forever.
and Kyrie to constantly shoot, and that's not a good move at all.
They still have other pieces.
It's not a
I
good
mean,
move.
are they going to
Listen,
get rid of?
all I'm trying to say, and I'm just begging for you to understand is these guys are not playmakers, and playmaking is required in a championship caliber team. It just is. You got to get the rest of the team involved. You just don't win championships just by feeding those three guys. Oh, just score all 120 points for us, and we'll win the game. It won't happen like that.
That's not what I think either. I think it's a
It's going
system
to be
thing. I
difficult.
think the Celtics were a system thing. I don't think Celtics had like a a person who was the distributor like Rajon Rondo. I don't think we've seen that in a long time
But
out
they
of any
have a
team though,
Derek White,
where
they
it's
have
just
a Drew
one person.
Holiday, and Al Horford. These are all very glue
Tatum
guys.
Pritchard, they have a ton of playmakers.
They have plenty of guys that are going to play a role that's going to help them. The Mavs don't have those type of players. They're just there to defend and rebound. They don't have the type of players that are going to create opportunities for anybody else. They're looking for opportunities to be created for them. Drew Holiday's not looking for that. Drew Holiday's just going to get the ball and put his teammates in a position to score. Whether that's setting a screen, whether that's diving for the ball. Derek White's going to do the same. He's going to knock down his open shots. He's going to score. Payne Pritchard is
I'm
apparently
pretty sure both
Williams
their guards don't
reincarnated.
even average 3 assists. Payne Pritchard averages more than
Who?
both their two guards together. I'm pretty sure, assist wise. How many assists does Derek White and Drew
What?
Holiday average together?
Together? That's a
Uh,
random thing.
one
Yeah,
is
I'm going to say it together.
White is 5, White is 5, Holiday is 4, and then Pritchard is like. Well, let me see. I have it out here.
That's a
Hayden
decent, I mean, that's
is
a pretty sure.
3.
No, that's pretty decent production now that I think about it. I thought they were averaging way less than that.
And that's not even
Not bad
counting their
production.
wings. Because, honestly,
Jason
Jaylen Brown
Tatum
is not
averages
a
like
bad
5.
playmaker.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown's not a bad
Passes,
playmaker.
yeah.
Jason Tatum is a better playmaker than that. Like, they have Al Horford, you have Kristaps Porzingis, which is a versatile big man to have. Like,
They have a playmaker at every position almost.
they know
That's
they
not
know-
what the Mavericks have.
Exactly. That's the point that we're trying to help you understand, and I feel like you're just not willing to listen. It's not as simple as just give these guys the basketball and it's going to work out. Kevin Durant needed players like Westbrook and players like Curry and Draymond to make his game effective because he's not there to make anybody else better. I'm just here to score. I'm just here to put the ball up and put it in the hoop. Y'all got to feed the rest of this team. Y'all got to get everybody else involved. And if I can get an assist here and there, whoop-de-doo, good. The coach is going to love me for that. But he don't care if I do or if I don't. Kyrie Irving
All right,
was
'cause I don't
not
wanna-
there to create for his teammates. LeBron was there to create for those teammates. LeBron was there to get those shooters open and get those shooters an opportunity to be involved and to feel like they're worth something. And that's what you need in a championship caliber team. Kyrie, Durant, and AD have never been that type of player. So to say that they would work because they would adjust to it is like saying they're going to be completely different players. So then it's no longer the same players anymore. Now we're just predicting these players are just going to transform. And that's unrealistic.
Think it's more about everybody having a role and understanding their role, but that just comes to them to actually. I think the only person who really has to change their play style is Kyrie Irving. I think KD can keep doing what he's doing and they win a championship, and AD do what he do. I think Kyrie has to become a facilitator for this to work, but that's also saying, you want a running back to start playing quarterback. I get that. It's far-fetched to imagine Kyrie as a facilitator. But I think that's the only way it really works is if Kyrie's the facilitator. But that's like, again, a woulda, coulda, shoulda. We kind of went down this dark hole with me. Now let me ask you guys this: what team is he a better fit that they can win the championship right away?
I don't think there is one right now. I don't think he fits other than maybe the Warriors, which is now long
He
gone.
doesn't want to go to. Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
would be a good fit
What
in
about you,
Denver.
Nas?
I think he would be a good fit in Denver.
That's not bad.
I would be
That's
willing
not
to
a bad
swap.
actual.
I would be willing to swap Michael Porter Jr. to get what you call it, Kevin
That's
Durant.
actually kind of hard. That's
I don't
hard.
know. I don't know if the Suns.
The salaries aren't far off either.
I don't know if the Suns would
That's actually
personally.
smart.
Yeah, I don't know if the Suns would personally care to have Michael Porter Jr., but he is pretty valuable in this league from what I've heard and read. So it's something they would consider.
And he's
Uh,
young.
And that's just.
I like that actually because if the Suns are trying to retool, you don't have to give everyone up.
Yeah.
You don't have to
You can
rebuild
get
either.
something really good. You honestly, he
Yeah.
would fit perfectly. And then you throw in like a Zeke Naji and a Dario Sark, and the contract matches.
Yeah, I like him in
Yeah.
Miami as well.
That's actually a good pick.
I like him in Miami, and I like him in. I don't know. I do kind of want to say Memphis. I was wrong. The Nuggets.
Now
are
let me
third
tell you
seed.
something.
But that's That's
We
go ahead.
We talked a lot about this, and we made a possibility. Keep in mind, the Suns are second apron. In order to do this trade, they would have to trade for somebody. They would have to trade for somebody that is making the same salary as KD.
Contract for contract, right, Tyler? Like contract for contract.
One
it has
for
to be
one.
the same amount of money.
You
around
cannot
the same.
aggregate salaries. You
Yeah.
cannot add two salaries together. It has to be one player worth KD's salary.
I also like him in Houston.
They also have trade exceptions and things like that help them out with these trades. That kind of like where they
Yeah,
just
trade
take up the
exceptions
cap,
do
some of the
account for
salary.
it because it's not another player. That is right.
So they could hit it. I think Denver could possibly, or Phoenix, more trade exception. So I think that's where they would make it work.
Denver would have to
If
create
it's
20
one-
million somehow in a trade exception, which would be kind of hard.
Yeah,
But I like him
that
in
is
Denver. I think
actually
that would
hard.
be my top choice for him. I think. I think Kevin Durant turns them. I mean, well, let me rephrase that. They're a championship contender as long as Nikola Jokic is a breathing human being.
They're
But
solidified.
you add Kevin Durant to the equation, and I believe that the consistency that he brings to the table. MPJ is very sporadic, which is something that is always going to be a problem. But Kevin Durant's just a model of consistency. He's just going to show up to work and do what he's told. And do
Everything
it very
that Michael Porter Jr. does, KD can do better. Every single
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Michael Porter Jr. is more of a spot-up shooter than KD, though. That's why I think I got to give. I'm not saying a better shooter. I think his play style is more of being a spot-up shooter than KD is.
Yeah.
That's just my assumption on that.
And KD could do that.
Which will
And then
fit
if you
good with a
need
Devin
him
Booker.
to create, he can.
Takes a lot of pressure off Djokovic and Murray. That's way better than Dallas.
Now, here's another thing. Because unfortunately, they can't afford him. Who they can afford, though, they could trade for Devin Booker.
Denver?
That's still good.
Devin
I still
Booker
like
is the
that.
same age as Jokic.
Talking about Denver? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. You just said Jokic.
I would do everything possible
Yeah.
to trade for Devin Booker.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Are we
I mean,
swapping
that makes more
out
sense.
Jamal Murray?
No. I think
Most
Michael Porter Jr.
likely,
still.
I think Michael Porter Jr. is the enticing piece here because he is still somewhat young.
Murray's solidified in it with the Nuggets. As long as Murray's there, I think as long as Yoke's there, Murray's there. I think he's pretty solidified, as is Robin.
I think Jokic could give a fuck, to be honest. But
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
if they could find someone to take Murray for a good trade, they would do it. If they got offered Darius Garland for Murray, they would take that without a doubt.
well,
Damn, you guys really killing me for Murray. Murray's good. Murray shows up in the playoffs all the time.
yeah.
Does
Are you
he?
really going to give up that playoff production?
He only
Yeah,
shows
he
up
did
against the
last year.
Lakers lately.
He showed up against Minnesota last year. It was.
He's
I
also
mean, they
been
still
very
lost it, but he
injury-prone.
had a good series with him. That's the part where
I don't
about
think
to say
Jamal
that's
Murray
where I
did.
kinda... No, he did. He had a pretty decent game. Again, I think it was a game 6, or was it game 5? He had a pretty decent game. One of those games.
Oh,
He's not bad.
One
Yeah, he's
game?
not bad in the playoffs.
I thought you meant like
thought you meant like a
showed
whole
up
series.
consistently, not like one game. Yeah.
No, he showed up in the games that mattered to like win. The winning games, he showed up in those games. Obviously, they won.
Damn it.
But he didn't have a bad playoffs. I'm pretty sure he didn't have bad playoffs last year. It wasn't
Actually,
like
no.
the
Even when
bubble.
they won, he was playing pretty bad. Other than he had 2 series where they played good, where they won.
Yeah, he had a terrible series against Minnesota.
Oh, okay. That was the only
Yeah,
series,
he had
right?
a bad series against the Lakers too, but he just
Yeah,
hit a
he
bunch
did.
of game winners.
That's
which is
exactly what I
really
was about to say,
unfortunate.
but nobody's ever going to talk about that because they're just remembering the game winners. Like, he literally had a terrible
He had a
series.
bad series.
He had a terrible series against the
That
Lakers,
fourth
bro.
quarter, that whole fourth quarter, he owned the Lakers in the fourth quarter that year.
Bro,
He
it
owned them
turned on in the
fourth quarter.
third quarter every game. Like they came back from the break and he just turned into something else.
But that goes to show you how bad he
Yeah.
was playing because with somebody playing that well in the second half and his numbers to still look that ugly, you must have had a really, really bad first half. Like, golly.
Nah, they were atrocious. Nah, but he had a decent showing. I mean, I just wouldn't just give him up like that, though. I don't think he's someone you give up.
For Devin Booker, I would not hesitate.
Like,
If they call me right now,
yeah,
I'm taking it.
Hey.
Devin Booker is a better player than Jamal Murray. That is guaranteed.
As a GM, your goal is to win.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not here
that's
to make
true.
friends.
He does everything that Jamal Murray does, but just way, way better.
And it's not like Booker doesn't
Way
show up in
better.
the playoffs. Booker has had some of the best playoff performances I've seen in years.
Even
True,
when his team
true.
has been bad, he's always had a good. Even last year against Minnesota, Booker was not the problem.
That first year with him and
Kevin
KD,
Durant was.
after the
Yeah.
trade deadline, I believe is when they got him. Maybe I could be wrong, but that first year with KD, well, he went crazy. When Chris Paul was still there, he went
Bro,
crazy.
he averaged like 37.
He had, I think, one or two
Chris
50-point
Paul-
games in one series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess
Did
we're
a
not
really
gonna
good
get
finals.
debated
Never
now,
going to hear me
but-
talk negatively.
But that's enough of the Suns. Last topic of the day, so we can round it out. We have Diana Taurasi. We failed to bring her up last episode, unfortunately, but we are going to
So
do
did
so
the world.
now. We're going to do right by her. Diana Taurasi has
It was on
retired.
purpose, though.
We have our resident WNBA expert, Tyler. Tell us how you feel about that.
She didn't. She always said that whenever she retired, she was going to fade away, and nobody was going to know that she actually retired. And then she did it. She just disappeared one day. Nobody had any clue. You know what's crazy though? We should have known though, because two things happened that should have tipped people off. Brittany Griner was always on the Mercury, and then she left for the first time to go to a different team. That's probably when people should realize. And then the other thing, the Mercury kept posting all these like images and graphics, like, "Oh, if this is the last time we ever get to see her, oh, if this is it." Like it's like they kind of hinted that she was retiring without telling us, but like we should have known.
Yeah, I feel like every
I think
player
so,
who's like a legend in their sport should have like a last season. I know that's a choice that they
Yeah,
make,
me too.
and I fully get it. You know what I mean? Most of these people, they don't actually care for all the lights and fame and stuff. But it's unfortunate to see that they don't get it, and not a lot of players
Yeah.
are
A
of
farewell
Diana
tour, at
Taurasi's.
least.
Yeah, not a lot of players are of Diana Taurasi's caliber. You know what I mean? Like she's what, I don't know, Tyler. You tell me if I'm exaggerating. Is she not like Kobe-esque for the WNBA? I would say so, right?
That's a great comparison. I would say that's what she is.
Yeah,
she's not the
hard-nosed,
greatest,
She's an asshole.
but she
you know?
is like a symbol of the WNBA. Like when you think about the WNBA, you think about Diana Taurasi. She's an MVP. She's a 3-time champion.
Definitely.
She's averaged 18. She kind of
Definitely.
revolutionized the game with 3-point shooting. Like she is their, she's their Kobe. She's their Curry. She's whatever you want to think about. She transitioned the game into the next level.
Yeah, I mean, Diana
Yeah,
Taurasi,
she's definitely up
Candace
there.
Parker, Maya Moore. Like these are the
There you go.
the legends.
Lisa
of the game.
Leslie,
Lisa Leslie.
Lisa
is-
Leslie.
all them Cheryl
Like, it's unfortunate.
Cheryl Miller, even though she never
Cooper.
played.
It's
I
unfortunate
can
to
keep
see
going
somebody.
names. I'm a part of it now. I'm telling you.
It's unfortunate to see somebody
Yeah,
of her
no.
caliber not get a farewell
Juwan, man.
tour, but it's a choice. I get it.
Yeah.
But that's
It
all
does
I have
suck.
for
Say
today.
something.
Oh, never mind.
Oh. Okay. Last thing, I was telling Nas before we actually started recording, Tyler. I was like, it kind of sucks because like the last farewell tour I think I got was Paul Pierce, and that was pretty shitty. And I was telling him it just sucks
You
because I
didn't
think
deserve it.
a lot. Sound like Draymond Green, but my whole thing before we go is like I just feel like Nas says most players should have their farewell tour, and on top of that, she's a goat. Like even if it wasn't her playing like 20, 30 minutes, at least 10 minutes for the fans. I think the fans deserve to see her one last hoorah, you would say.
I
But
think D
go ahead,
Wade and
Nas.
Dirk retired after Paul Pierce. No,
Yeah.
I think that would
Yeah,
have
but
been
they
our
had better
last one.
farewell tours.
Yeah, they did. But what you say? I didn't hear you.
Dwayne Wade didn't have a fair. Did he have a farewell tour? Did
Yeah,
Dwayne
they
Wade have a
both did.
farewell
They
tour?
retired the same year.
They
both
did.
Yeah, it was actually
Okay.
really. It was
It was
actually really
forgettable
good.
because it was 2 at once.
Yeah, but it was
That's
good
one
though.
reason I forget it was a. I just
Ah,
forget it was a
that's
farewell
why.
tour because there was 2
Yeah.
instead of just 1.
Yeah, it was good though. They a lot
Gotcha,
of
gotcha.
memorable moments. I think his last game, he hit that game winner, and he got on the table and everything. It was
Which is
good.
crazy. That
For
was a
Dirk-
30-point shot,
Didn't
too.
they make? Yeah, didn't they make jersey swaps like super cool at that time? That's when the jersey swap shit really was going crazy. Was
I
was
don't-
Dwayne Wade's last
Because
season?
of that, they have it in 2K now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dirk's wasn't as memorable. I don't think Dirk was playing a lot at that point in his career, but it was fun. Nothing will ever beat Kobe. Nothing will ever beat Kobe's. Kobe had the best
Never,
fairway
never.
tour. Best
Bro, he
final
ended it with a
game.
60-point game.
Yeah,
That's
that was one of my
crazy.
favorite games of
Goosebumps
all
every time I
time.
think about it. Yeah, it's out there. I'm not gonna lie, that's one of my favorite basketball games ever too. That was amazing. Like that was amazing. And I'm not even a big Kobe fan.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
exciting. That was fun
Top
to
3
watch.
and
but-
an A3 or 2.
I think
Or
the
one.
reason I loved it so much is because I was with a Kobe fan and he was like literally about to cry. I was like, this is like, I hope LeBron goes out like this. Like,
I think Diana
would
Taurasi
cry.
should have at least announced it at the Olympics. At least.
Something,
No, but you
give
have
us
to
something,
understand.
yeah.
Diana had always said herself she never wanted to announce her retirement. She didn't want a big show. She's very like to herself, like always. She's been very quiet. She's just a competitor.
Yeah, understandable. I'm gonna be honest. Like if I was in their position, I would feel the same way.
Yeah, like you just want to go. Like you don't want people to try to convince you to stick around. I'm done. My
I'm gonna
career's
need my
over. I've done
flowers.
everything I
I'm
can
gonna
do.
need my flowers. I'm gonna need my
She's got
flowers.
6
Give me
gold
them.
medals. Like, you know how many
You
people
gonna
are
get
gonna
her
have 6
flowers,
gold medals?
bro.
in
Diana
their career?
Taurasi is getting queen treatment right now. We just don't know about it, but I promise you, her organization and
Sure.
everybody, all her sponsorships, they're treating her like the queen of the world right now. We just don't know about it, but she's getting everything. She's getting everything delivered to her house. She's getting all the parties. She's getting all the recognition. She's getting all the free stuff. Like she's getting showered with flowers right now. We just don't know about it.
She's
Yeah, I
literally
guess
probably the
probably.
most prominent person in Phoenix. Probably more than KD and Devin Booker.
I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah,
She's
I
big
see
out
that.
there. She's really big out there.
So she's getting everything.
All right, now, do your
everything.
thing, Nas.
I was trying to think if the Arizona Diamondbacks had anybody, but they probably don't.
No one talks about Randy
Bro,
Johnson.
bro, no one talks about Randy Johnson.
But that's all we have,
He's
ladies and gentlemen. A little
yeah.
baseball segue there for a quick second. But thank y'all for tuning in. Let us know in the comment section if you tapped in this far. We appreciate the love, man. We're out of here. Catch us next week. We'll hoop talk with y'all again. Deuces.
Yes, sir.